Hello, everyone. Today the temperature is not perfect at all because it's a gray sky with a lot of clouds. Most people they don't go out. The topic, the title resume pretty well the topic. What's next, you or the machine? Try to use the prompt on ChatGPT. What's gonna be my next move? It all depends on your will. The machine will never tell you what to do. They can give you instruction on how to do things, but when it comes to the commitment, the application, you have to find the motivation within you. You can ask the machine to motivate you if you feel discouraged, but it's not going to be only words that will be sufficient for you to maintain your motivation. You need human presence and you also need feelings. And a machine cannot give you feeling. It can make you feel certain things, but it will never replace human experience. So you are talking with a machine that gathers human experience but does not entirely replace it. Because right now with AI, there is just too much technology and it invades every section of society. The workplace is being transformed by AI. Some people are losing jobs because of it. Some say that we should fear AI. Some say that we should live with it. It's a very complex topic because clearly AI has some benefit. So eradicating AI completely will not be a wise move. It's about finding some limit and how to contain the AI so that it gives the best result while minimizing risk. Because there is risk to AI, it creates a new generation of people that don't search for the answer themselves. That they, instead of trying to find develop a thinking of their own, they just focus on of the result. What's important is not the answer, it's how you think, how you structure your thought. And with only interacting with the machine, you're not getting the full process. That's why even if you go to graduate school, you're gonna need to have a supervisor to guide you, to orient your thinking. AI is never gonna replace you. It's you have to guide the AI. Like let's say you give a prompt to the AI, what will be my next decision? What will be my next move? The AI will never be able to find the answer for that. It has to comes from you. You must know within yourself what you need to do, and once you have figured it out what you really wanted to do, then you have to do it. And even if you ask the AI about some motivation, if you feel that at some point you are low in spirit, hello Cassandra, thanks for being here. Yeah, I'm talking about AI, and one of my long dream is to become a radiologist, and radiologist is a physician of technology. So it's a physician. So physician, they really understand people. They have emotion intelligence. So I think that's the the strong problem right now is that many of the people that develop the technology of AI and that are designing technology right now, they are PhD and they are very good in the brain and logic, but they don't understand people. And that's the thing that is missing right now. It's trying to focus on what's the impact of technology on people, on society, because if I had a child, how would I educate him to technology, to AI? Because I feel that my generation is completely different to the generation that is now. Like most people, when it comes to content creation nowadays, they use AI instead of thinking by themselves. But creativity should be something that is done by a human being, not a machine. So there are just some many ethical concern over technology, and people that are only focusing on knowledge, on PhD, they are extremely smart, but they don't think about the human aspect, their ethics. And when I talk about ethics, I think about the good and the bad. Because as a society, we have a responsibility. And like women think very differently than men. And most men that are PhD, they are very smart, but most of the time they don't really understand women. And because they only work, they are extremely knowledgeable. But it's important also to understand people, because men and women, they balance each other. We think differently, but if we understand each other well, then we can have a better world. And I think that yeah, it is lacking right now. And unfortunately, some people don't care too much about ethics. The reason why is because they only care about money. And I saw yesterday the one professor that I tried to apply with at the University of Toronto. He posted a news about Sam Atman, that there were some violence at his house, and then he said, "Oh, this violence has to stop." And I told him, I replied in comment, I said, "What has to stop is pushing AI to society, because it's clearly out of control right now." And I feel that if there is no limits to what AI can do, it's going to be dangerous, because some people fear that AI is going to replace us. I don't think that's really possible, but at least there should be some regulation about AI trying to reflect about its limit, and not letting, because right now one of the limit of AI is, if you go on ChatGPT or things like that, when it comes to NSFW content, which means non-safe for work, you will not be able to talk about pornography or sex with the AI. This is one limitation that it has, but there are probably others that needs to be explored, so that society can be responsible about technology and educating the future generation. It's not only about us. Like, if you had children, how would you explain to them the benefit of technology? You want to educate them in a better way, because you want them to do better than you did yourself. So it's some people don't have children, but just think about the people that does have children. They have a responsibility, and some parents don't care. I mean, I know that like not everyone is a good parents, but if you have a child, like how would you like to introduce him to technology? What would you tell him about ChatGPT and all the other AI? Would you tell him that he has to learn by himself, or you just have to ask the AI for answer? I remember when I was a child, I was asking my mother about nature. I had a lot of questions, and she didn't have the answer because she was not very educated. So what I did is that I went to the library, and I searched by myself. I was reading books, and some people, they might think that, oh, it's not useful anymore. We don't need to read books because we can just have ask AI for the answer. But the problem that I see is the critical thinking aspect, because it's not true that the opinion of everyone is equal. Some people opinions are just like crap. So you have to be really mindful about listening to the right person, and even AI can give you the wrong information. So you develop that critical thinking by making an opinion of your own. But you cannot make an opinion of your own if you always rely on AI for all the answers. So that is something that I see that is a limitation of AI as well. And even some people were saying, oh, studying at university, getting a college degree is useless, because university is about knowledge. But university for me is not necessarily about knowledge. It's also about the social aspect. The people that you meet there, the students, the professor, they will be in your mind for all your life. Even if you don't talk with them after you graduate, they're going to be in your memories. They're going to be your friend on Facebook, and they will have an influence on you. So AI is struggling in the education field right now, because universities don't want students to use AI. They want them to think by themselves. So how do we measure the impact of AI on education? Like it cannot just be that AI is going to replace the brain of students. How do you want to design education? How do you conceive education? Is education for you only about having all the answer, or it's more the thinking process. I know for a fact that I studied in biomedical science, and for me, what I've learned, most people think that biology is only about memorizing fact, but no, a biologist is someone that is a scientist that design experience, that build experience. And this is something that AI on itself cannot give you, that kind of thinking. You have to practice it. Like, let's say you want to test anything, any idea, you have to design an experience, you have to build an experience for it, and then you test it, then you see the result, then if it works or not, you see if the idea that you had, the hypothesis, was good or not. This is the kind of thinking that is important nowadays, but it's easy to get diluted by all the wrong information regarding AI. Like someone that will tell you that education is worthless nowadays, that person is misleading you in the wrong direction. But I know that universities will have to adapt, will have to change because even if they don't want their student to use AI, people still do. So this is crazy because I graduated 10 years ago, and now the market, the situation, the challenges in education is completely different now in only in 10 years. But that's my own thinking. Like we need some people that thinks about technology. So I mean on the human aspect, not just about rushing technology like a race where there's no limit, and the only thing that is driving that machine is economy, is profit and money. That's the capitalist mindset. But capitalism doesn't bring humanity. You need to think about the consequence of bringing too much technology in the world and trying to see the good and the bad and trying to develop regulation. But this is something that will develop over time because we're gonna see some huge pitfall, and that's how laws are being developed. They are being developed because there is some circumstance and certain case that gets too extreme, and we have to establish boundaries. If we let AI just taking all the place without doing anything, then the technology is going to control us. And I think it's the most important above all is that you have to remind yourself that you are in control of your life. It's not the AI. I used the AI for a while, for about 2 or 3 months, and now I barely don't use it anymore because I want to think by myself. I don't care. Like I was reading a books, and then I was asking AI, okay, I read that book. This is what I think, and then I was thinking, okay, I'm gonna see what it has to say regarding that book. But now I don't care what AI has to think regarding the book that I have read. I want to develop my own thinking, and even if AI has a different idea than mine, I don't care. I feel it's important that I develop my own thought, that I have my own opinion, because in the end, if you only rely on AI, I feel that AI is telling the same thing to everyone. I was talking with one guy, and I don't want to conclude that, but I saw another person that was doing mentor on Instagram, and he was saying that a lot of content creator right now, they are relying on AI, and AI is telling them the same thing. So how can you differentiate yourself in the market where everyone is being fed by the same mouth? You have to think by yourself, and all the people that have developed content before AI, they know how to do it. They have the skills, they have everything, but some of them, they will still choose to do AI because they want to save more time. They want to be more efficient. But you have to think by yourself. I think the most important thing is to think by yourself because a machine is never going to replace human experience. Like I was saying last stream, if you want to get a girlfriend or boyfriend, then you ask relationship advice on the AI with ChatGPT. ChatGPT never kissed a girl or a man never made love or had sex. So even if you can try to explain to the machine how much you feel lonely, how much you would like to feel love and have a relationship, to be hugged, to have human warmth, you're not gonna get it through a machine. It's something that you have to feel, something that you have to experience by yourself. And that's one limitation of the AI. It's not just about information and logic, but you have to think that most of the people that develop this technology, they are PhD. They are not humanists. They are not people that can really understand human behavior. They are driven by profit, by money, by the for them it's a financial transaction. When they see that so much people subscribe to ChatGPT, all they care about is the money that it brings. They don't care if it has a bad impact on you. They don't care if it affects your thinking. But the thing is that eventually, like I said, there will be some pitfall. There will be people that kill themselves because of AI. There would be a lot of case, and then we're going to start to think about it. Like if you remember 70 years ago, 50 years ago, when we were driving cars, there were no seatbelt. People could drive cars, and they were not preoccupied whether or not they had a seatbelt, because at that time that was the norm. That was how things were done. But then what happened is that a lot of accident happened on the highway or anywhere in town. And then after some time, when some scientific study were done, we realized that if we had a seatbelt in a car, it would protect us, and it would reduce the number of deaths. So it's the same thing with AI. Right now, it's totally unregulated. There is no law that limits the propagation of AI because it's just beginning. But I can guarantee you that in a few years, when we're going to look at the number, we're going to see that it creates really, really negative impact. I'm not trying to say that it's only bad or only good. There are clearly some benefit, but it's not a perfect technology, and it's important to talk about it because like I said, most people are only driven by profit, and even the mainstream media. It's not about like being against or trying to formulate a propaganda, because the thing is that the mainstream media, what they want you is to use AI, because that sells, that brings money to the companies that are manufacturing those technology. For them, if you use AI, it means that you have to pay a subscription monthly. They don't really care at that time about the ethics of AI, about the impact it has on your thinking, on your relationship with other people. Like just when I was growing up, at that time Facebook didn't even existed. It was only MSN Messenger. We wouldn't compare ourselves with the old world like right now. It was mainly conversation one by one, and most of the time we would have conversation in a car or in a coffee shop, and we would. But right now, it's crazy how much technology has changed human interaction. It is something to think about. It's not an easy topic to talk, but I know that in the next coming years, there's going to be some regulation, there's going to be some law that will be made to establish boundaries about the limits of AI and protect people, protect families, protect women, protect children. Even now in Australia, you cannot use YouTube if you are not 16, because they saw how much social media was detrimental to young children, to teenager. There are laws that protect people because they know that through times technology has a negative impact. Like I said, it's not only bad. There are some good, but sometimes you have to think about the long term. You have to think about the education of the future generation. But most people like that are designing those technology, they don't understand anything about psychology or philosophy or sociology. The only thing that they care about is their own business and how much money it brings to them. And I don't know if you know about this, but Donald Trump, he invested more than $500 billion in AI. So imagine that, 500 billions. It's a lot of money because they want to become the leader in AI for the whole world. So I don't think that it's going to change instantly. If he has invested that much on AI, it's because he wants to push it even further. But the thing with technology is that it changed over the years. Right now, the main technology is AI, but maybe in 10 years it's going to be something else. When we think about the industrialization phases in society, you can think about like the main invention in humankind that completely revolutionized the way people live. Technology is a good thing, but we need to give boundaries. We need to give limits to technology. One of the first invention that I can think that has made a huge impact is the invention of automobile. It really transformed the way that people could travel the world. Also, train, airplane. These are three great inventions that completely revolutionize the way that people travel. And AI is another technology that will transform the the how industry works. AI is being an industrial revolution right now because it completely transformed the workplace. It even cut off some jobs, and because of that, some people will lose their job. The market will change. Some low entry job will not exist anymore. You just think about it like maybe 100 years ago, some job that existed back then doesn't exist today. I can think of just a job as simple as a blacksmith. Back then, blacksmith was something that was useful, but through industrialization, we managed to develop um, manufacturing process to arrive at the same result without human intervention. So industrialization phases help because it reduces the involvement of human in the design and production of technology for human consumption. The goal is just to alleviate the life of human, to make it simple to bear with in the everyday life. Technology is interesting. Even one technology that completely did a revolution in the way that people communicate is internet. But at first, that technology was only available for the military. And then when that technology got released to the public, it completely transformed how people communicate. We could talk to anywhere, could talk to anyone, anywhere in the world. And now AI is doing the same thing. It's another revolution. It's another industrialization phases. We're entering a new age, a new era, and it's not gonna be just all roses. There's gonna be some downfalls. We're gonna see later on um, the limits of technology, of how much it can damage relationship, and even some government are taking action. In Canada, for example, on Facebook, you cannot post about news because I don't know exactly the reason why Canada started to ban Facebook news. I think it's because of they wanted to avoid people to share propaganda because they are different news information, the left wing, the right wing, and it can create a lot of division, a lot of hatred, and also it. We had the trucker movement in Ottawa a few years ago during the COVID. So politics is a way to divide people, but also to unite them because that's how coup d'état works. It's because people want to change, they want a transformation. So social media and politics, they are closely tied together. But AI is not necessarily about politics. It's more about psychology. it tries to replace human interaction in a certain way, or not necessarily replace human interaction, but at least transform them, because it impacts more on a personal level. AI is being something that is personal, that is psychological. It's almost like a friend that you can ask all the question that you want. But let's remember that it's not a person; it's just a machine. So you are talking with someone that is not a real person, and you expect that person to understand you. But what's the goal of this? Are you really aware of how meaningless it is? For me, it's just crazy how much people are investing in AI instead of chasing real interaction with real people that have real experience. Even if AI can tell you all the answer regarding your psychological problem, it's never going to replace a therapist that has studied many years at university, that has seen hundreds of clients. AI is never going to think for you. AI is never going to care for you on the empathetic way. I mean, on a human way. It's AI is just some program that is based on how the human brain works. But AI is a brain. It's not a heart. Machine don't have any heart. What they have is just a series of connection. They are programmed by neural network. Neural network is just how the human brain function. A neural network is, for example, you have multiple neuron 1, neuron 2, neuron 3, and then you can create a network by assembling those neurons together. And then you can create a function, you can create a thinking. But that is the technology behind AI, the idea behind AI. It just tried to mimic nature. But the heart, it's not something that you can replicate entirely, because feeling are visceral. Feeling are something that you feel with your body. You can feel that your heart is beating faster. You can get chills. You can see your hair on your skin rising. You can feel the sudation over your skin. You get the sweat over your skin. These are important feelings that only a human will be able to experience. AI will tell you a lot of things, but like I was saying last time, if you want to write a book, if you want to start a YouTube channel, if you want to study at university, you can ask AI about all the ways to get there, what to do exactly in order to reach the goal that you have set. But once you know all the steps, it's not AI that will do it for you. You have to do it yourself. And if at some point you struggle with motivation, even if you ask AI, telling AI that you're not motivated anymore, that it's difficult, it's not going to find the motivation within you to continue your goal. So when it comes to motivation, when it comes to focusing on something that is important in the long term, that is something that you can only develop through your own experience, through some failure that you had in the past, because failure makes you question about your priorities. Because when you start something and it doesn't work the way that you expected, some will say, I will try again. Some will say, okay, even if it doesn't work the way that I expected, I'm going to try again. But it makes you question yourself. And that's the thing that I don't see with AI. AI is not going to make you question yourself that much. It's only going to tell you answer upon what you ask. So you have to spend some time with yourself alone and think for yourself. And then once you have your own thinking, you're gonna know who you are as a person. You're gonna know your values, your personality, what's important for you, what it isn't. Because even if AI gives you 10 possibilities, you are the own hero of your story. You still have to choose among all the possibilities. You cannot take all of them. So how will you choose? You will choose based upon your values, upon your interests, upon what fits best for you, but you can only know what is important for you if you are able to spend some time by yourself. And I feel that with technology, with cell phone, with AI, less and less people are spending time with themselves alone. A, the cell phone becomes an addiction. It's really disappointing. Hey Ali, how are you doing? Yes, I do. You were there last stream. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, I've been there to a Saturday. Now we are Monday, so I'm gonna be there as well on Wednesday. I'm just trying to discuss about the limit of technology because the profession that I want to do eventually is the radiologist. And radiologist, I would say it's the physician of technology because a lot of the researcher that developed the oh, I'm sorry about it. It's yeah, it happened to me too. I was sick. I was puking when I try to attempt too much things at once. I get sick. My body cannot tolerate it. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. You were sick, but it's good that you are back and you feel better. Oh yeah, it was raining yesterday almost all day, and even now the sky is not so great. Now it's a bit better, but when I left the house, it was all a gray sky, and I was feeling that okay, it's because when the sky is gray, not many people go out. They only go out when the sun is out, and now the days are getting a bit longer. So for people, it's a bit enjoyable to go outside. I tried last time I did a stream. It lasted 1 hour and 30 minutes, and only one person was just staying. But I was staying with that person. I don't have 100 views or 100 viewer at the same time, but if I can talk to one person, then that's important for me. It's not necessarily about reach the number; it's more the quality of interaction. Because the person that stayed with me, yeah, where are you from? Are you? I cannot even assume anything, but I know a lot of people that watch my stream are from Canada, but it might not necessarily be the case for you. I'm gonna buy a new camera because this one that I have, I don't like it. Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. Yeah, just thank you for being here, and even I am more grateful because it's not the first time that you joined. So I understand that everyone is busy nowadays. So don't worry about it. Take care, man. See you next time. Yeah. So an idea that I want to give also is that my dream profession. Yeah, thank you, you too. My dream profession is to become a radiologist, and radiologist is like a physician for technology. So as a physician, you understand people, you see technology differently because the one that are designing the technology right now, they are PhD, they are extremely smart when it comes to the brain to knowledge, but they don't know the impact that technology can have on people. And I think it's extremely important to think about the social consequence of technology on education. And when I mean education, it's not on a small scale. It's more something that is comprised in the field of school. By that I mean primary school, high school, universities. That is education. But education is also between parents and children about how do we educate our children with technology, with AI. And then when I talk about school, how do school review pedagogy? How do they train students? Do they train students to only learn how to use AI? Because in the future, we assume that AI is gonna take more expansion, or do we want our children to learn by themselves, to think by themselves? That is something that we have to question ourselves about. And the people that are leading AI. They are businesses. They are businessmen. What do they care about is economy, is finance, because they know that if you use AI, you're gonna need that subscription monthly, and that gives money to them. But there is some ethical concern. There is some judicial concern, some educational concern, some social concern, some psychological concern. This is a dimension that people with PhD, they have absolutely no idea how to deal with that, because they are very good in a narrow field. They are extremely good when it comes to computer science, mathematics. For that, they are unbeatable. They are at a degree of expertise that is beyond my understanding. But when it comes to the human aspect of technology, that's where they are extremely lacking. And I feel that as a scientist, I mean, in their situation, they have a responsibility towards the future of our society. Because it's not true that a scientist should work independently of society, because the one that are funding these researcher is the government and private businesses. But our society should not be only driven by profit, because we are human being. Economy is good because it creates job, or it can even replace job. In that situation, we see that AI is cutting some job. So it's a huge reflection to make, and I see that multiple countries in the world have taken position on it, because they are aware that there is something wrong with how technology is today. And people that are young, what's even more disturbing in that is that their maturity, their mind is not completely formed. They are still developing. They are still easy to influence. So we need adults. We need people that can think and protect our future generation. If you don't have children yourself, maybe you have a younger brother or a younger sister, and then you see that you don't that person doesn't live in the same generation than you see, and you realize that there is a gap of generation, a gap of thinking, and you are not you necessarily you maybe not have all the tool to help that person take the best decision for her or his life. The reason is because AI right now is in a state of complete uncertainty. We just push it, but without thinking too much about the consequence. But we know that there is already some consequence, because when it comes to school or high school, for example, there is a lot of bullying done on social media that didn't exist when I grew up as a child, because we didn't have Facebook, we didn't have all those social media, and people can talk behind your back without you even being aware, not even having the real interaction. They can just talk between each other online, and there is so many ethical concern regarding um, spying on other countries, terrorism. There are just a lot of social consequence to AI that goes well beyond just the monetary value. And I'm extremely disappointed um, at how government are responding to AI, because they are just glorifying AI. I've seen in the newspaper how much people that were developing this technology were celebrated in the media, instead of being more critical about the impact of AI on society. For me, that's the main question. It's not just technology. I'm not saying that technology has no benefit. Again, for me, the most important is trying to have a holistic view of technology, not only a pecuniary view of technology, but a view that encapsulates the reality of the people, the way that people experience life, and that is more personal rather than just financial. That's the main aspect that I want to talk about. I see that today the topic is probably didn't generate as much as interest as I expected. I think that many people they still use AI and they are still in the phase of experimenting with it. But somehow you're gonna figure it out by yourself that it's probably not the best thing for you. That it cannot replace yourself. That it cannot make any decision for you. And eventually, I just hope that some people will realize that AI, the promises that they had for ourselves, doesn't meet our expectation anymore. And we should be more critical towards technology. That's the main message that I want to give to people, is to be able to think by yourself instead of just mindlessly follow a machine, because the machine will never replace a human being with experience and a heart. Remember that most people that are designing those technology have absolutely no idea on the social aspect that it creates, and they probably don't even care. And that's the field of ethics. It's about giving or analyzing the goods and wrongs. And in this case, it's especially regarding technology. Okay, it's been 42 minutes now. I see that there was a peak moment, but now it's getting a bit. Yeah, technology is nuance. Is can bring a lot of goods to the world, but at the same time, it's important to have critical thinking. If I see someone gonna, if you are just there and then you join, I would expect at least that the person say something. I'm not gonna spend more time on the stream today because I realize that I'm hitting something that is very sensitive, and I know that when it comes to AI, the influence of peers, how your friends use AI, has a huge impact on your behaviors. Because if you see that all your friends are using AI, you are way more likely to use it as well. It's the peer pressure, the Ash experiment in psychology. I think it's very easy to convince people to use AI that way, just by the influence of your friends. But you have to make the experiment by yourself. Even if your friends use AI, you don't necessarily have to use it yourself. I did use AI for a couple of months as well. Now I don't use it anymore because I feel that it's just too much. But no one will be able to convince you. And the main idea is just to invest in yourself. Uh, just step aside from technology and try to plan your own life, to design what's the most important for you. And that depends on your value. It doesn't depend on a machine. What's the most important aspect of your life that you want to develop? What are the dreams that you had that you constantly pushed away? Dreams are extremely important. And if even if you share your dreams to an AI is only a machine. It's not a human being. Dreams are something extremely precious. It's probably one of the most important thing to care about. To have a meaning in your life, you really have to focus on your dream. And I think that everyone has a dream. And we talked about regrets last time. think regrets is when you give up on your dream, because I've been spending most of my 20s chasing a dream, and it didn't happen the way that I expected. I wanted to go to Cambridge. It didn't work. But you know what? I'm trying again, and I'm 35. People, they were thinking that I'm crazy when I started. But it's when you have a dream, it doesn't matter if no one believes in you, because since it's your dream, you should be the only one who believes in it first. And then once you start to work toward that dream, you're gonna experiment a lot of bad things. It's called the Murphy's Law. Like, all the bad things that you could imagine or can't imagine will happen, and people are gonna see how much efforts you are making towards that dream, and you're gonna change people, gonna change the view they have of you just by your perseverance, by the human quality that you display for the realization of your goal. And this is something that the machine cannot do, because when it gets hard, to whom will you rely on? Will you ask human, or will you ask a machine? It's something probably abstract to you, especially if you are young, because when you are young, most of the time you didn't experience failure yet. It's when you start to experience failure that you realize that life is harder than you would have thought initially. And not giving up, it's easy to just think about not giving up, but when the challenges come, when you get at the hospital because you get sick, or even if you get homeless, how do you handle that crisis without losing everything? Some people, whenever there is something bad that happens to them, they just give up everything. But life is about being persistent, about being perseverant, and this is something that technology cannot really teach you. It's something that you have to experience for yourself, and it's not hooked on your cell phone that you will find the answer. It's not through scrolling Instagram posts, TikTok posts, that you're going to find the meaning of life. You're going to find the meaning of life through the validation of your own suffering. But the best way to validate your suffering is to live a life where the dream that you had becomes a reality. And it becomes a reality when you decide that no matter what people think of me, no matter my past, no matter my diagnosis or my failure, I believe in myself, and that's the most important. And then once you have that spirit, no one can hurt you anymore, because you have that vision, and you start with one person. The first person that you have to convince that your dream is possible is yourself. Once you do, then your job is to live towards your dream. And that's what I did. And I managed to convince 18 million people that my dream was possible. You never know how much impact you can have on the world until you start to live the life that you really wanted. And dream is just something that gives validation to suffering. What I mean by that is that because when you go towards that dream, you're gonna have a lot of pain. But to make that pain a justification, to validate that pain, to say the pain that I've been through, it means something, because I have reached the goal that I set for myself. And that is extremely important, because at 21, when I was diagnosed with bipolar, just a little bit before than that, my goal was to get into medical school. But then something happened. So, what do you do as a person? Do you just give up entirely on your dream because something happened that you didn't control? It's always going to be like that. There will always be something that you cannot control. So what matters is not that there will be thing that I can control, is what will be my reaction when things gets out of control. And that's where you start to differentiate yourself, because people are going to look at you, and when everything is all right, it's easy to have a dream, to have goal. Everyone can do that. But when you start to go into pain, when you start to go into moment where most people would have already given up, that's when you start to differentiate yourself and inspire people. Because everyone has something that is important to them and that they are fighting for. And when they are looking upon you, they see that you are doing something that they are not capable even of doing themselves. It's by your human character, by your resilience, by your persistence, by your willingness to improve yourself daily, that you can inspire millions of people. And the most important is yourself, because if you don't believe it yourself, no one else will. And I think that it's pretty important to acknowledge that you will have doubt. Everyone have doubt, especially when you have an idea in mind. There can be some moment where at your peak you truly believe in it, but a few instants later you forget, and it sits in the background of your mind. It sits in a place where it's not on the front light or on the spotlight, but it doesn't really go away because you already spent time on it before. And that's the most important, is when you start to build something, it never entirely goes away. It stays with you, because that thought, that dream is something that becomes a part of you, becomes your identity. It becomes the way that other people see you. And that's how you're going to define yourself, by your willingness, by your persistence to believe in your dream, believe in what's important, believe in what's worth fighting, the human qualities, the human strength, the human courage. Technology is limited. Always be critical on technology, and focus on your dream. It's a very cliche topic, but it's the most important thing in the world. Because when you're gonna leave this earth, if you have children one day, you can tell them that you don't have any regrets, because you've did everything that you could to reach the dream that you wanted. And then you're gonna leave that legacy to them. You're gonna leave that thinking, that whatever thinking, whatever dream that they have, that it's possible. And you're gonna be their inspiration. And when you're gonna have your last breath, they're go- your children will become yourself. Hello, Pablo. Yeah, the streaming is pretty silent. I feel that the topic is a bit too abstract. That's the reason why it doesn't reach that much people. But yeah, next time I'm gonna try to be more general. I'm talking about the limits of technology and the impact that it has on society. I feel that it changed so much, like the ethical consequence, that the no, it didn't happen. But I'm gonna change camera, because this camera is not so good. I always have to control it so that it stays in focus, and because of that, I cannot see too much about the environment. So I'm gonna return it soon. I'm gonna buy a new one, a bit better than the one that I have. Hopefully, it will be it will be more interesting because I would like to show more about my environment, but I'm limited by my camera, by just the technique. So yeah, that's the problem that I have right now. I know that there is a new camera. It's called the DJI Pocket 4. It's gonna get released on April 16. So hopefully they will have some good feature, and it's gonna be worth it for me to upgrade because I don't have a camera right now. It's only a gimbal, but the gimbal is not that good. I always have to control the focus. I cannot switch from back to front lens because if I would be able to switch from back to front lens, it would be so much interesting for you, the people that are watching, because I could show arounds. Now I cannot. I cannot show too much. I know I could probably change the angle of the gimbal to show more, but yeah, I'm feeling that I'm a bit limited by the tool that I have. And the reason why I stopped making shorts every day is because I'm going to start to invest more in languages. Chinese is my third, Korean is my fourth, but I want to continue a bit Korean and probably introduce a fifth language. I really love languages, and I know that I need to focus more on that. It's I'm not sure about my fifth language yet, but I'm really passionate about culture, about music, about movies, about photography. From which country are you, Pablo? Are you from Latin America? You have a Spaniard name, a Spanish name. I love the music of Latin America. The Latino music is extremely good. It's, the Latin music, it's very unique. I publish a lot of songs on my professional Facebook page, and there was even this partnership. There is a jewelry company that asked me to do a sponsorship with them. Okay, well, I'm so happy that you are here. Think that you are a great person. I'm gonna stay just with you. I'm gonna just last stream I stayed just because of one person. I did a stream for 1 hour and 30 minutes just because one person stayed. Otherwise, I would have ended. But if you are willing to spend some time with me, then for me, it works. It's worth it. Like when I was younger, I was going to church, and there was this story. It's about a young boy and his grandfather, and they are on the beach. And then the young boy says to his grandfather, "There are so many starfish near the sea, and they don't get any water. They are gonna dry. They are gonna die." And then his grandfather was putting one by one the starfish into the sea. And then the young boy said to his grandfather, "Why are you doing this? There are just millions of starfish." And then the grandfather said, "Because for him or for her, it's important. For me, everyone counts. And if you are um, kind enough to join my stream, yeah, I'm gonna spend some quality time with you, and we can talk. Because for me, everyone counts." And there was even one guy. He is only 12 years old, but he is in my stream frequently, and he he comments, and I appreciate the people that comes back and that comment, because if someone doesn't comment, I cannot know that this person is there. I have only access to how many people are connected, so I don't know exactly who's watching unless the person says something. Um, I don't want to enter into anyone's privacy, so I'm not. I don't want to anyone to reveal too much personal information, because, as you know, the stream are recorded. So I don't want you to reveal too much, because that's your own life, and you have to do things as you are comfortable. That's the most important. I was saying that my goal is to be a radiologist, which is a doctor of technology, because I feel that a doctor of technology is someone that really understands people, not just the logical, the mathematics and the computer science behind technology, but also the social aspect, the psychological aspect, and all the ramification of technology on society, so that we can educate the future generation and the current generation on technology. I was just talking about earlier about the seat belt in car. 70 years ago, people, they were in car, they were not wearing any seat belt because at that time it was okay. That's how society was. And then we realized that many people died just because they didn't have a seat belt, and we tried to protect them, and then over time we changed our habits, we changed our behavior, and the world is a safer place, but we learn to failure. Right now, we when we look at AI, there is no one is saying bad thing. Some people are saying bad thing, but we are not at the level where people starts to question AI. We are just trying to glorify it. We celebrate people that develop AI in the media, but there will be a time where we're going to see the consequence. Even in Australia, you need to be 16 years old to be on YouTube because they know that it affects too much the teenager brain. They're trying to protect the young child. And I think that's extremely important because even if you don't have a child yourself, like I said before, you could have a younger brother, a younger sister that is now in a different generation than you, and you don't necessarily know what to tell him or her about how to educate herself so that she doesn't get harmed and can live the best life that she can. It also changed completely our education system. How are we going to educate people now? Will we educate them only based on AI, so that we can think that, oh, AI, we will educate them so that they can use AI because AI is going to be the next technology? Or do we want people that can learn by themselves the same way that we were educated? So it's a huge reflection on society. It's an industrial revolution that it has a lot of impact. And I'm not saying that it's only bad. There are some good of AI, but we need to think more. Yeah, I am living in Ottawa, but I grew up in Quebec. That's true. Yeah, I am in Ontario since about 4 years now. I lived in Toronto for 2 years. Now it's my second year in Ottawa, and I'm returning to Toronto in September. Are you from Canada, Ali? I see a lot of people that are from Canada that are watching the stream because they know that I'm Canadian. And also of the time zone helps a little bit because 7 p.m. there used to be some people from other time zone that were watching before, but for them, let's say you are in the UK, it's +5. If you are in Dubai, it's +6, +7. So it's not the best timing for them, especially if they have work the next day. I could totally understand that it's not the best time for everyone, but I have to choose a time. The reason why I chose 7 is because most people that work, they have some free time after work, and 7 seems to me like a good time, a good schedule. I would say that as a French person, the French people from France, they are extremely good when it comes to literature. France is the country with the most Nobel Prize in literature. When it comes to sociology, philosophy, France is extremely good. Michel Foucault is one of my favorite philosopher, sociologist, historian. I've read almost all of his books. But that's one thing that people cannot understand and that technology will not replace is to be able to read Michel Foucault book, especially if you are not studying sociology as a major at university. It must be through your own experience. You must be ready for it. You must be at a stage in your life where you have questioned yourself sufficiently enough on society and its pitfall that you are able to understand its thought. Because if you just ask the artificial intelligence to summarize the idea, you won't necessarily understand them. I studied pharmacology, for example, and even if I told you something in pharmacology, if you didn't study at university, I don't think that you will really understand it because it's extremely technical. It requires a specific vocabulary, but humanities and social science, it's not necessarily in the technical vocabulary. It's more in the depth of thinking and maturity. And it's something that you can really learn and develop through your own experience. And that's the reason I think that why someone choose a major over another. Like, why would someone decide to study in psychology or philosophy or sociology? There must be something within that person from our own experience that propels that person to choose that field. We all have our own motivation for choosing one field over another. And this is something that the AI will never be able to give the answer for you. You have to find the answer within yourself from your own experience. What matters the most for you, but what matters the most for you might be completely different from someone else. So it's important to be mindful about your um, your own thinking, because once you understand yourself, you can really distinguish yourself from the machine, because the machine was created from the human from the man. The same way that according to the Bible, the woman was created from the man, from his kidney. The machine, the AI, is created from the man. Because if you think about it, the AI technology with the neural network, it's just a human imitation of a brain. It is an extension of a brain. It is the design, the idea, the original concept is just copying nature, but it is not nature on itself. Nature, nature is even you have to ask yourself, what is life? If you talk about viruses, not many people know this, but viruses are not life. The reason why viruses is not life is because they cannot replicate themselves. So the same way, AI cannot replicate by themselves. They can learn by themselves. They can learn how to be better. They can learn to by generative AI to improve. But AI cannot spread biologically the same way that a bacteria or any animal on Earth is able to do. Life is when you think about AI, you have to distinguish between the animate and the inanimate. What distinguishes the animate between the inanimate? The animate is what defines life. And what defines life is the capacity of self-replication. And if you think about it, a viruses is DNA and proteins. So what the viruses lack so that it can become life, it lacks the organelle of a cell. And a viruses is just some material that parasite a host cell to replicate because it doesn't have the machinery of the cell to replicate. So that's on an abstract way or very concrete way how you can distinguish life from non-life. So if we put AI in that context, AI is not life. Why? Because it cannot replicate biologically. It cannot give genetic information the same way as that an organism can give to its progenitor. And then when you think about it, AI, like I said, is just an extension of you. So if you learn how you are, you understand that even if in the brain, that's the center for emotion. I know that emotion are not being processed in the heart. When I talk that men have heart, I say that metaphorically in the sense that they have heart, but heart it stems on the human mind. But when I mean that I want to distinguish man from machine, in the sense that machine may come from an extension of the human brain, but they don't have the the tool center for expressing emotion. Even if they are getting closer to that than with robots and trying to simulate human consciousness, it's important to always monitor technology from an outsider perspective, not just in terms of industrial aspect or manufacturing aspect, but more on the social, psychological, philosophical consequence, educational, lawful consequence, all the consequence that the developer of those technology don't care at all. The only thing that they want is money, and they don't care if people will die as long as they get profit from it. So we have to question ourselves as society about the impact that these technology introduce in our daily life, and what kind of generation do we want to have in the future? Do we want citizens that can think by themselves, or we want copy of robots that can just ask question to a machine and not have any structure in their mind about where to go, because the machine will never feel a heartbreak when you separate with your boyfriend or your girlfriend. You're going to feel hurt. AI is not going to be your therapist. You need a human being that can recognize your pain and say, I understand, and here's what you need to do next. Technology will never replace human connection. I know that some people they have less access to professional, but everyone has a family, everyone has some people around them. So that's the most important thing, to be connected with people, with your neighborhood, with your friends, with your family, because that's how you're gonna thrive. I'm gonna end the stream right now because it's been 1 hour and 15 minutes. I'm gonna do a bit of reading. That's how I can feed the content of my stream. I am grateful for everyone that joined today. It was an immense pleasure, and hopefully see you in 2 days on Wednesday. Thank you. Bye bye.